square circle today. First match, today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling is Bernie Richard. It's professional wrestling at its very finest here on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Starting off today's card, it's tag team action. We've got a consultation going on in the team of Peller and the Bear. All ready to start things off. And you never know what those fellas are going to talk about or what the strategy they may come up with. Of course, in the sport of professional wrestling, as in any sports, you oftentimes think that one team or an individual may be in an underdog position, and that's probably the position that fans would put the team of Stompin' Paul Peller and the Bear in this match. However, they make a tag, in comes the Bear, and we've still got Rick Patterson in on the other side. And I guess the advantage would have to swing to the team of Rick Patterson and Man Mountain Mike, particularly with this Man Mountain Mike, a big guy at 325 pounds, and that probably won't help when you get some of the antics that you just saw there from the Alaskan Bear. Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, the finest in professional wrestling that you'll get to see anywhere, and you're seeing it right here with Rick Patterson and the Bear. Keeping the action going here in the first match on today's card. We've got a number of newcomers to introduce to you on today's program, and we'll be doing that as the program moves along. We want to start the top of our program off by just saying hello to all the sick and shut-ins, those who aren't able to get out to the arenas around the Atlantic provinces and see the great professional athletes of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in action. That'll stunt your growth a little bit, and that'll hurt the arm just a mite, too. You get Rick Patterson jumping on the arm of the Bear, but they got the tag, and in comes Man Mountain Mike, and that'll really cause the biceps to disintegrate. Man Mountain Mike pounding away on the Alaskan Bear. Well, we want to continue that greeting and say hello to the sick and shut-in, and nice to have you with us here on our program each and every week. And, of course, I guess the old saying goes, we're glad to be able to bring them to you, and we do want to thank you for all the cards and letters that you've sent acknowledging your appreciation of the fine professional wrestling we're getting here on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Stompin' Paul Peller's in against Man Mountain Mike, and we'll see what he can do. Man Mountain Mike with an elbow smash and tag, and in comes Rick Patterson. So we're getting quick tags here on both of these tag teams, and I guess it would be safe to say that all the tag teams are looking for a shot at any of the tag team trophies and various other titles that are around with the great teams that are making their way to the Atlantic provinces. Most of the professional wrestling world finding out that the top talent is here in the Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling circuit, and they're finding their way here to take on the likes of these people in the ring right now. Stompin' Paul Peller and Rick Patterson whip off the ropes. Up for the drop kick, and did he nail Stompin' Paul Peller? 1, 2. He probably would have had the 3 if the Alaskan Bear hadn't come in and interrupted. Did he catch him right on the chin? Rick Patterson. He's got a tag, and in comes the big fellow from the Yukon Territory, Man Mountain Mike. And this guy is making some kind of an impression in the Atlantic provinces. Not only his size, but his ability to move. Look at this guy move. 325 pounds, and he moves around like a light heavyweight. 1, 2. Stompin' Paul Peller's taking an awful pounding at the hands of Rick Patterson and Man Mountain Mike, and there's a tag, and they allowed, and in comes the Alaskan Bear. Stompin' Paul Peller was at the end of tags, or end of a couple of pin attempts, and he very well could have been put away. Oh, the Alaskan Bear, full Nelson. Let's see what the strength of this guy they call Man Mountain Mike is like. Goodbye. Hey, Alaskan Bear. Now we got some strategy going on. The Chrome Dome of the Alaskan Bear had a bad winter, I guess. Of course, that could be said for many that suffer from that same illness. The Alaskan Bear proving that bald is beautiful. But he don't look so beautiful right now. A little bit of strength testing against Man Mountain Mike, and that will just shorten up the fingers just a little bit. And the knee waiting for the Alaskan Bear, and the Bear's having his problems handling this team of, look at that flying elbow by Rick Patterson going for the pin. He's got 1, 2, and Paul Peller's in with a handful of hair and hauls them off. This team of Rick Patterson and Man Mountain Mike really had a lot of things going their way in the first 6 minutes of this match. Opening match action, today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Rick Patterson coming up from the floor against the Alaskan Bear. An eye rake to go for a tag and trying to get out, but here's Stompin' Paul Peller pounding his way. They're going to try and get some of their own comeuppance back against the likes of Rick Patterson and Man Mountain Mike. Rick Patterson on the wrong end of that toss off the ropes. Rick Patterson, up with a beautiful drop kick, and look at the position that the Alaskan Bear finds himself in. Patterson backs off. He says, okay, let's take him out of there. I can do more with him outside. Rick Patterson trying a backdrop off the ropes, but the Alaskan Bear able to get his leverage around and foil that attempt. I'll tell you, fans, this may not be what you call totally pretty, but it is down and out war between this team of the Alaskan Bear and Stompin' Paul Peller, who's in there right now, and Rick Patterson and Man Mountain Mike. Not a whole lot of scientific wrestling going on. It's just down and out war. He who can kick and pound and scratch and gouge and do whatever else, the most to his opponent seems to be going to win this particular match. Stompin' Paul Peller. Oh. Hello. Rick Patterson gets some relief, and in comes Man Mountain Mike. And there's a tag, and in comes the Bear. And Man Mountain Mike is going to clean house. He doesn't really care. Oh, look at this. You want to get together? Okay, I'll help you do it. Man Mountain Mike against the Alaskan Bear, and he's got that bear hug on the Bear. Man Mountain Mike with the bear hug on the Bear, and here comes Stompin' Paul Peller in to interfere in this match. The Alaskan Bear up off the ropes and down into a body slam. Thank you to Man Mountain Mike. Big splash, 1, 2, and 3. That's all she wrote. That is all she wrote. For the Alaskan Bear, you get that Man Mountain Mike coming off those ropes with a big splash, and you can see the pain of one Alaskan Bear in the center of the ring. So the winners of this match at 9 minutes, 21 seconds, the opening match, today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, Man Mountain Mike and Rick Patterson as they pass in front of our cameras. We're back with more professional wrestling on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in just a moment. A 20-minute time limit. You can hear the reception accorded this duet as they enter the ring. Wait till they enter and do the introductions. The manager, Mr. Robert Joseph Bastard. And in his corner today, introducing at 246 pounds, coming from parts unknown, the International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the Super Destroyer. And his opponent today, introducing at 230 pounds, coming from Columbia, South Carolina, Sergeant Ryan O'Connor. And the referee for this match is Ron Gauguin. Okay, second match action, today's card, and let's take a look at this young man from South Carolina, Sergeant Ryan O'Connor from Columbia, South Carolina, being warned by referee Ron Gauguin to not pull the hair. No Class Bobby Bass watching over the International Heavyweight Champion's actions and actions in the ring. Look out! Ah, good maneuver by O'Connor. He's out of the way when the Super Destroyer was going to make him part of the turnbuckle in the corner. I'll tell you, O'Connor was out of there fast and right into the armbar, and he's got the International Heavyweight Champion on the canvas. Sergeant Ryan O'Connor. Not able to get away from... Oh, what an elbow shot to the head. 1, 2, kick out. Off the ropes and down goes Sergeant O'Connor. 1, not quite 2. Super Destroyer and Sergeant Ryan O'Connor. This match of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. I think it was quite evident. You could see for yourself the shot that the Super Destroyer put on this young man, Sergeant Mike O'Connor. Bobby Bass over there encouraging the Super Destroyer to show him why you're the champion. Mr. Bass continuing his barrage on why the Super Destroyer is the champion. This match is 1 fall with a 20-minute time limit. And it's got the International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, Super Destroyer, against Sergeant Ryan O'Connor. Pin attempt, 1, 2, and a kick out by O'Connor. And what an opportunity for this young man to make a real good showing against the International Heavyweight Champion, Ryan O'Connor. If he could score a big victory here against the International Heavyweight Champion, what an opportunity. Oh, beautiful drop kick. The high-flying Ryan O'Connor going for, I thought he was going to go for the pin attempt, but he's into the armbar there. The Super Destroyer showing why he is the neck breaker, a twisting neck breaker, 1, 2, and he lifts him up. He may have had it, but he is showing his disrespect for this young man from Columbia, South Carolina, the International Heavyweight Champion. Going for the pin. He's got it. 1, 2, and 3. That's it. That's all she wrote. Sergeant Ryan O'Connor. A good effort, but not good enough against the International Heavyweight Champion and his manager, Mr. Robert Joseph Bass III. We're back with more professional wrestling on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in just a moment. Steele. And his opponent today, introducing at 262 pounds, coming from the Mizir tribe in Africa, welcome the great Malumba. The referee for this match is Bernie Richard. Mike Steele, 242 pounds, coming from San Francisco, and he's wondering what this stuff is that the great Malumba was doing in the ring there. Well, he was getting rid of the evil spirits. Look out, Mike Steele. Whoop. Guess what I got waiting for you? The great Malumba waiting for Mike Steele. Into the wrestler's hold, and we'll see who comes out of this one. Mike Steele. Mike Steele may not do that. Hold on a minute here, Mike Steele says. Hold on a minute. The great Malumba. Shaking hands with Mike Steele, and Mike Steele may not want to ever do that again with this guy. The great Malumba showing his strength and ability to use that strength to 100% efficiency against this man from San Francisco, Mike Steele. Hip toss. Not really much of a hip toss. He just grabbed him by the arm and flipped him. With that strength, you can do that. The great Malumba. Wrist lock on arm and on Mike Steele. The great Malumba taking on all comers and proving why he is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world today with all that strength. And he makes full advantage of it every time. And that's about the only comeback that a wrestler like Mike Steele may have, is an eye gouge across the throat. But he didn't expect that right hand. But Mike Steele with the chop to the throat. Look out! Mike Steele, he's disappeared. This is how you do it, Malumba says. And look at that toss. Oh, like he was setting up for a hip toss, but whoop, just the strength of that upper arm and that upper body of this man they call the great Malumba. You get a good shot of the strength, the biceps, the chest of this man. Strength personified. As he takes on Mike Steele. Today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Up and down, and look out. My arm has gone through the canvas. Mike Steele. He must be wondering to himself now what he's doing in there, but the professional wrestler he is, like all professionals, will meet the challenge, answer the call whenever the challenge is issued. Great Malumba on Mike Steele. From corner to corner, he's got three of them. Yeah, he's not going to go for the fourth one. The great Malumba and Mike Steele. And while Mike Steele has had his moments of glory in this match, the majority of it has been the strength of that man they call the great Malumba. From the Mazir tribe in Africa, the great Malumba a backbreak, and now pumping himself up is the great Malumba. Mike Steele just got a lesson. If you're going to hit the great Malumba, you better make sure it's a good one, that he doesn't get back. Look at that whip toss into the turnbuckle. That ring has moved at least 6 inches, and the great Malumba is now upset. Look at this dance. He's gone into his dance, and he is... There's another shot to the head. 1, 2, and 3. That's all she wrote. A couple of headbutts, and the great Malumba uses whatever is available to him to turn the advantage his way, and obviously he's cleared the evil spirits out of the ring and got himself another victory. 5 minutes and 20 seconds. The winner of this match, the great Malumba over Mike Steele. We're back with more Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in just a moment. We have everybody participating in this one in the ring, so now let's do the introductions. Introducing at 265 pounds, coming from Germany, the European heavyweight wrestling champion, Killer Karl Krupp, and his partner, Herman. And his opponent today, introducing at 242 pounds, coming from Sacramento, California. Welcome back, Mr. T.G. Stone. And I guess it's easy to see that Killer Karl Krupp wants to welcome T.G. back to the Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling Circuit in his normal fashion, without getting any instructions or whatever, right into it. T.G. Stone, the multi-tattooed individual from Sacramento, California. T.G., flat on the canvas. Look on his trunks, footloose. T.G., after an absence from the Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling Circuit for about 3 years, he's been to Japan, he's all over the United States and Canada. T.G. will get a good look at what this young man is able to do and what he's learned since he's last been here. You don't wrestle in the kinds of circuits that he's been in without gaining a whole lot of experience. T.G. Stone, the multi-tattooed T.G. Stone. Look at the tattoos on that man. You can get a good shot at some of those. And look at his trunks, footloose. Wonder if the rest of it goes with that. Footloose and fancy-free. T.G. Stone, California Blonde, against the European heavyweight wrestling champion, Killer Karl Krupp, and one half of that team that has become known as Devastation in itself, the unification of East and West Germany. The German tag team. Killer Karl Krupp, meanwhile, is having his problems against this multi-tattooed T.G. Stone. This match of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling today. Fans of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling will, of course, recognize that T.G. Stone is going to have to do much more than he's been able to do so far if he's going to keep this man they call Killer Karl Krupp from gaining a victory, as he's done in the past. Now we're going to move this match out onto the studio floor. Killer Karl Krupp. No, we're going to use the studio walls. And those concrete walls, I'll tell you, will not do anything. They'll not do anything for your looks or your complexion, I'll tell you. T.G. Stone into the turnbuckle, and Killer Karl Krupp has T.G. Stone. He's got him all cut up. T.G. Stone is all cut on the forehead. where Killer Karl Krupp has driven his head into the studio wall. Now he takes him into the ring. He says, let's get in there and do what we're supposed to do. And there's T.G. Stone. He'll get a shot of that blood pouring out of his head. Killer Karl Krupp goes right for it, and another smash to open in that cut a little bit further. T.G. Stone, certainly at the wrong end of Killer Karl Krupp. Punches to the head. You get a good shot. You can see a shot of that cut that Killer Karl Krupp has opened up on the forehead of T.G. Stone. T.G. is, I'm sure, wondering what he is doing back here in the Atlantic provinces. At the hands of Killer Karl Krupp, but T.G. delivers some of his own off the rope. As he catches Killer Karl Krupp, and now shoulder tackles into the corner. T.G. Stone working over Killer Karl Krupp, doing not a bad job of it. Look out! Out goes T.G. Stone. Killer Karl Krupp with presence of mind. T.G. Stone out on the studio floor. We've had a lot of this match on the studio floor, I'll tell you. But T.G. Stone finds himself on the wrong end of that claw, particularly where Killer Karl Krupp has the blood flowing. Killer Karl Krupp working that big claw, cutting off the blood supply to the brain, and puts T.G. Stone down on the canvas. And once he gets him into that position, he can apply that much more pressure. We see the activity by T.G. Stone is almost nil. 1, 2, and 3. That's it. That's all she wrote. It's all over. T.G. Stone loses his return television match to Killer Karl Krupp at 5 minutes, 24 seconds, and Killer Karl Krupp does not want to give it up. Here comes the great Malumba. Referee Ron Gauguin could not get Killer Karl Krupp to break it up. But the great Malumba says, I will look after this Killer Karl Krupp, and this is a feud that has been brewing. Fans, this has been brewing for some time. Killer Karl Krupp and the great Malumba, they're out into the dressing room area now. The great Malumba gets rid of Killer Karl Krupp. We're back with more professional wrestling here on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in just a moment. In action, and what a great tag team we've got for you today. Okay, one team in, we'll do the introductions when the other ones arrive, and here they come in all their glory. Okay, now let's do the introductions. Introducing, at 248 pounds, coming from San Francisco, Lenny, Montana. And his tag team partner at 242 pounds, coming from Greenwich Village, Sweet Daddy Siki. Oh, Mr. Irresistible, Sweet Daddy Siki. And their opponents today. Introducing, at 240 pounds, coming from Toronto, the Toronto television champion, Ronnie Rich. And his tag team partner, we welcome, here from New Orleans at 242 pounds, welcome the former U.S. heavyweight wrestling champion, Ron Starr. The referee is Bernie Richard. What a great tag team this is going to be. Most falls to curfew match. We have Ronnie Rich, the Toronto area television champion, the former U.S. heavyweight wrestling champion, the Ron Starr. And I'll tell you, there's a guy that's got experience galore. He has seen the insides of that square circle before. We've also got Sweet Daddy Siki, Mr. Irresistible, as he is so proud to tell you. Mr. Irresistible, Sweet Daddy Siki. 242 pounds coming from Greenwich Village. And Lenny Montana from San Francisco. And we've got Sweet Daddy Siki and Ronnie Rich starting things off. Sweet Daddy Siki is showing his upper body strength as he whips Ronnie Rich around that ring, and that's 240 pounds of Ronnie Rich. Tell you, you're doing something when you're flipping him around. Sweet Daddy Siki, very proud of himself, showing the kind of condition. I see it. We've got Lenny Montana making sure that we see the great strength and the ability of his tag team partner, Sweet Daddy Siki. And Ronnie Rich. Nice reversal on Sweet Daddy Siki, and look out! Ronnie Rich is a little bit upset at the treatment he's received from Sweet Daddy Siki, who's gone into the fans over on the other side of our studio there. We got Lenny Montana over there consoling his tag team partner, Sweet Daddy Siki, or as the fans like to call him, Sweet Mama Siki. Ronnie Rich and Sweet Daddy Siki are most falls to curfew match here on today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Up off the rope, shoulder tackle, down goes Sweet Daddy Siki. And he was waiting for Ronnie Rich, but Ronnie Rich wasn't there. He was kind of wise to some of the actions, and here comes Lenny Montana, joined at the interview area by none other than Mr. Robert Joseph Bass III. And I'm sure that he's looking at some of the actions of Ronnie Rich and Ron Starr.
Ron Starr, who I'm looking at, Daddy.
Ron Starr is who you're looking at.
One. You know I don't give too many compliments on wrestlers. You know that.
Yes, I'm well aware of that.
One of the supreme wrestlers in the world today, Ron Starr. You know what? He's trying to fool a lot of people, but he can't fool me. I've been around the world, Daddy. Let me tell you something. Ron Starr was a two-time junior heavyweight champion of the world.
Right.
He weighed 210 pounds. You know what? He weighed about 235 pounds now. The belt won't fit him. But I think Ron Ritchie brought him in here as a partner. Hey, and you know what he's doing?
Pretty well right now, I would say.
Yeah, you give him credit for that, but you know what?
Doing pretty well.
Now dig this.
Oh!
Let me tell you this. He's interfering in the Super Destroyers matches all the time. He's bringing in chairs. He's bringing in brass knuckles. He's bringing in canes. What kind of athlete is this? What kind of man is this? Interfering at all times. But Sweet Daddy Siki over there will take care of Ron Ritchie. Or Ron Starr, too.
Okay, well, we'll see who's going to take care of whom as we see the action flying fast and furious in the ring there. Ron Starr. Arm dragging Lenny Montana to the canvas and keeps the arm bar for a hold. And look at the way he's got the pressure going on the neck, the head, the shoulder, the arm of Lenny Montana. Well, I guess fans should probably give you an indication of what kind of respect they have for this guy called Ron Starr. When you have the likes of Robert Joseph Bass III coming out here and complaining about interference in matches, you know they're running scared. They're scared of this man they call Ron Starr.
No, excuse me, Bill.
Ronnie Rich.
Not scared. Cautious.
Oh, yes. Cautious. Okay. You call it what you like. I'll call it what I like. Oh, look at this.
But Sweet Daddy Siki take care of him.
1, 2. He could have had 3 probably. Okay. Robert Joseph Bass III walking in front of the cameras. And I'll tell you, this team of Ronnie Rich and Ron Starr are really teaming up on Lenny Montana. Oh. Woo. Good night, Irene. 1. Ron figures that he lost that one. Well, we've got Lenny Montana showing some of the metal that he's made out of. This guy and, of course, Sweet Daddy Siki, you never count those two out. They've been around those ring wars a long, long time. Sweet Daddy Siki. Oh, beautiful drop kick. Look at that man fly. I'll tell you, that Sweet Daddy Siki is just something else again. Just to count it, well, not quite two, and he's going for a pin attempt. One. Starr and Ronnie Rich teaming up against Sweet Daddy Siki and Lenny Montana. And fans, there is not a wrestling card in the world that this would not be a main event. Not a wrestling card in the world. When you get the likes and the legends of Sweet Daddy Siki, Starr, Ronnie Ritchie, and Lenny Montana, tag team action, I'll tell you, you have got the very best. And of course, you're getting a handshake here, maybe. We'll just see. Starr is wise to the ways of the likes of Sweet Daddy Siki. No way was he falling for that one. Starr and Lenny Montana. And I guess when you have Bobby Bass, manager of the International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the Super Destroyer, out here, and they're looking at this guy, Starr, and trying to discredit him, giving him all the credit for past victories, of course, but trying to discredit everything about this man. Well, that tells you something about the respect they have for this guy, Starr. Two-time World Junior Light Heavyweight. And he's been the past U.S. Heavyweight Wrestling Champion since maturing and putting on more weight. That'll just give you some idea of the experience of this man, Starr. He has got experience. He shows it in every maneuver in the ring. There's the tag. Referee Bernie Richard did not see it, and he's not going to allow it. There's the tag, and in comes Lenny Montana. Is he going to allow this one? Oh! Look out, Sweet Daddy Siki. He's going to be looking for a new partner. We got a pin attempt, 1-2, and that's all. Sweet Daddy Siki will not be happy about getting that shot from Lenny Montana that was aimed for Starr. Action supreme here in this, the most falls to curfew match on today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Ronnie Ritchie against Lenny Montana. Up and over goes Lenny Montana. 1-2. And with a little hair and the help from Sweet Daddy Siki, off goes Ron Ritchie. And Lenny Montana is just moving back and forth. He does not know where he is, but he knows he's on the canvas. One. Well, Ron Ritchie could have had a count, but Sweet Daddy Siki in there to make sure that there was no pin attempt. And here's Lenny Montana getting some of his own back against Ron Ritchie. And a knee of Sweet Daddy Siki waiting for Ron Ritchie, television champion out of Toronto. When you get that guy teamed up with Starr, I tell you, you've got two of the finest professional wrestlers you're going to get anywhere in the world today. Then you take the likes of Sweet Daddy Siki. While not a favorite of the fans, certainly, they have to respect his ability, this Sweet Daddy Siki. And then team him up with Lenny Montana. Well, you've got a foursome in there that's just unbeatable. There's going to be a lot of sweat spread before we have a decision in this match, I can tell you. We have 5 minutes left in our most falls to curfew match on today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. We've approached the 8-minute mark with about 5 minutes left to go. We do not have a fall yet, and it is going to be some kind of war before this one's over. Ron Ritchie in the corner, taking a shoulder tackle from Lenny Montana and a whip toss into the opposite corner. Look Ron Ritchie's got a boot waiting for Lenny Montana. Not enough to overcome an eye rake and a shot right to the chest. Tag, and in comes Mr. Irresistible, Sweet Daddy Siki. Sweet Daddy Siki pounding away on Ron Ritchie and gets him over into the corner. Now for a whip toss. No, Ron Ritchie reverses it. And look at Sweet Daddy Siki flying into the corner. There's Lenny Montana in to make sure that Sweet Daddy Siki does not get... that Ron Ritchie doesn't get recovered. We've got 4 minutes left in our match. 4 minutes left in our most falls to curfew match, today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, and we've got Ron Ritchie pounding away on Sweet Daddy Siki. Sweet Daddy Siki looks like he's just ready to drop himself, but it's Ron Ritchie that goes down. Headbutt into the stomach of Sweet Daddy Siki, and a pin attempt. 1, 2. Oh, he almost had it. He almost had the 3. We've got about 3 minutes left. Oh, look at the elbow waiting for Ron Ritchie as he's driven into the corner by Sweet Daddy Siki, and in the corner waiting was Lenny Montana. Most falls to curfew match, today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, and there's a knee waiting for Ron Ritchie as he comes off the rope. We've got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left in our most falls to curfew match, today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Ron Ritchie trying to fight his way out against Lenny Montana. To no avail so far, but he's got the knee off the rope. A knee waiting for for Lenny Montana. Ron Ritchie is in this corner, and he's not sure where he is. This is a little bit removed from professional wrestling fans. This is down and out war. As we've got Sweet Daddy Siki now leaning on Ron Ritchie. His throat right across the rope. We've reached the 10-minute mark. And this is some of the finest professional wrestling we've seen anywhere. The finest 10 minutes, I'll tell you. You never get to see wrestling any better than this. And you see Ron Ritchie, Lenny Montana. We've got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left in our most falls to curfew match on today's card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Lenny Montana going for the pin. We've reached the 11-minute mark of our match on today's card. Here's the tag, and in comes Ron Starr. Ron Ritchie's had enough of that. He's gotten out. He straightens out Sweet Daddy Siki. Meanwhile, continues to pound on Lenny Montana. Ron Starr. Oh, look at this for a pin attempt. He's got, Sweet Daddy Siki, you want in here? Ron Starr says, okay, come on in. And up and waiting for Lenny Montana. Look out, Lenny Montana. Sweet Daddy Siki nails the tag team part. Out goes Sweet Daddy Siki. The action fast and furious into the pin attempt. 1, 2, and 3. That's it. At 11 minutes, 52 seconds, we've got another match going on outside here. We've got Ron Ritchie and Sweet Daddy Siki. Now Ron Starr comes out and holds Sweet Daddy Siki as they pound away on Sweet Daddy Siki. Now they've got Lenny Montana out there. Our most falls to curfew match looks like it's going to be finished outside the studio here, as we've got Sweet Daddy Siki being driven into the studio wall. And Ron Ritchie takes a shot at him. There's the bell. That's it. That's all the time we have. And
Mr. Krupp, if I got a minute here.
You've got a second or two, yeah.
Well, I'd like to tell the people of the Maritimes, I told them last week, Sweet Daddy Siki, there's ain't room for 2 of us here in the Maritimes. It's either me or it's either you, brother. And I'm telling you what, I'm making a promise to the people. As Sweet Daddy Siki, brother, you're on your way out.
Okay, Ron. And we'll go over and we'll be right back with our wrap-up of today's program of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling in just a moment. McCullough inviting you to join us here next week. Same time, same...